If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insights on the Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available on podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
They are 1.8 billion globally. They will make 75% of workforce by 2025. They will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers for every conversation. Get more insights on African millennials on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
You know, it was the early hours of Monday morning, I think about 5 o'clock, when I got to my desk, and then typical me, I'll fix my green tea and then just ready for the week. And I had this feeling on myself that it was going to be a very great week, right? And I'm living in the manifestations of it because I have someone I really look up to, someone who has gone way ahead of many of us in business, in the Nigerian and African economy. I have Dr. Olusegun Akanji on the African Millennial Radio Show, guys. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Are you comfortable with me doing sir with you?
I think we should just keep it simple.
Okay. All right, guys. It's Tommy Wale again on the African Millennial Radio Show on Africa Business Radio, and I love the sun outside. It's a very, very bright day. It's not rainy. It's not moody. It's a good energy outside, and I hope it's like that with my friends in Ghana, in South Africa, in Egypt, and everywhere you're listening to us this afternoon. All right, so straight to it. We're going to talk about so many things today, so I'm just going to let you guys know about my guest this afternoon, Dr. Olusegun Akanji. Now, with over 18 years in the formal workspace, Dr. Olusegun's experience in financial services cover commercial, investment banking, and insurance. Within the investment banking space, he was part of a number of notable transactions as financial advisors. He acquired consulting exposure as strategy and business transformation subject matter expert working with leading global firms. He's currently the divisional head strategy at Heritage Bank PLC, and also is the CEO of Imperium Capital Partners PLC. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
I mean, I should have read a whole lot more from your profile, but I think people should really just go connect with you on LinkedIn and then make sure that from this conversation, find Mr. Segun wherever you are, and then make sure you hold him, by his by his hands. And he's a leader, right? And he also has things coming up, call it leadership lanes, coming up very soon on YouTube. You guys should really stay tuned. It's going to be a very, 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 very impactful and interesting ride for the next couple of years with Mr. Segun.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, so we've been having some conversations lately on the African Millennial Radio Show on organizations at least positioning themselves so their brand, their businesses, right, after the whole pandemic and everything that happened this year. Of course, we started the year and then it was just a free air. Nobody knew what was coming, but there were a lot of expectations, right? But then a couple of things happened, and of course it shook some economies, and then everybody's now trying to get back into. So what we've done is we've had conversation on brand positioning, we've had conversations on human resource, right? At least what can make you be relevant in rooms, especially when organizations are laying off people, right? We've talked about what organizations should do to get their customers, what organizations should do to at least scale up, to some extent. Now, in all of this, right, let's assume that everybody has their HR gotten right, they have their brand positioning gotten right. Profit is very important in business, and correct. That is what we're going to be talking about today, at least positioning for profit making.
Correct.
Right, from this. So, I mean, this is like a mini school for me, so I should be taking notes again right now. You've had 2 decades of experience. In fact, I would even think it's more than 2 decades, but I'll say 2 decades of formal, right? Because from my experience of you're a very observant person, and I'm sure you'll have done a couple of things, What is profitability?
Well, I think everyone knows what profitability is.
Okay.
Very simple and not too much of any complexity. When you put in something, what comes out of it is your profit.
Okay.
So every time you direct an effort towards production, and that is done successfully, it should bring you some reward. So profitability in very simple terms would be reward for the risk you have taken.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're a student, so you go to school, you dedicate yourself to it, the outcome turns positive for you, the reward you get is profit. So if you bring it to the context of organization, deploy the various factors of production, and at the end of the day, when those are rightly disbursed into the business in the right combination, under the right environment, as we will say in economics, ceteris paribus, all things being equal, you should have profit, and that is reward for engaging all the resources of the factors of production appropriately. So that basically you will take as profit. Reward.
So I heard an example you made, say, okay, as a student, for example, you read and then you get a reward, so that's profit. So part of the things that you have to do, or will I say the key profit drivers as a student, is you have to study.
Correct.
Right. You have to attend your classes.
Correct.
You have to read more than every other person. Now, in business, what are the key profit drivers you have identified in the past 2 decades?
Well, there are some that are fundamental to all businesses, irrespective of sectors. But now, when you start to delve into each sector, then you start to find some layered up ones that then builds on the fundamental. So I'll basically just go to the fundamental ones, which are the foundational ones that cuts across industries. So first is, for you to be profitable, you have to have 4 key foundational pillars of profit. Number 1 is leadership. Leadership has to be right. Once the leadership is right, the leadership provides direction for the vision, for the strategy of the business, provides guide, make sure that there is discipline in the organization, make sure that the vision, the mission, the core values of the business are well entrenched. So you have leadership taking responsibility for and on behalf of all the people and the resources they put together. That is number 1. The second one is right people. You need to have the people that are able to move at the pace with which the business and the environment is being directed. So if you have people that are not willing to move at the pace of the direction the business is being directed, then you cannot succeed. You cannot get to profit. So you have to have the right people. And right people has to do with the right quality of knowledge, education, exposure most critically. I'm not saying experience, exposure. Okay. A lot of people are well experienced in doing A and B, but they are not exposed as to the capabilities of their experience transcending into value. So exposure layers up experience. Exposure is the advanced level of experience. Many people are technically, operationally experienced, but they lack exposure that they need to build on their experience to deliver the value that people are looking for. So, for example, that is what makes you to choose between one person and the other, who have gone to a particular university, who have worked in a particular place together, but one of them continues to advance themselves they may not even have left the shores of this country, but they can tell you about so many things beyond what they've done that is useful to the business. So they've layered up on their experience. They've graduated to that level of exposure, so that when you are going to make a decision as a leader or a CEO, haven't ticked the boxes of every other things, and these guys are right on point. What makes you to take decision that this is the guy I'm going for is that level of exposure they bring in, because it is what helps you to taste innovation. That person is able to bring certain additional value beyond what you are actually looking for in the experience that they have. And that tells you that such people are self-driven. They are in pursuit of knowledge. Absolutely. And they apply knowledge. And when they apply knowledge, they demonstrate higher level of knowledge, which is wisdom. And that is what delivers value. You can't say that you are knowledgeable without being wise. So the wise guy will make use of the knowledge that they have. There are many brilliant guys in the university, but they never graduate because they never apply the knowledge that they've acquired. That's why they give us this kind of question in school, where they say they give you principles and say you apply it to a case. Some people, they know all the principles, but they can't apply it to a case. And that is the basis of when you go to schools like Harvard, Wharton, MIT, Stanford, they go through cases. Because they don't want you to understand just the fundamental principles. They want you to be able to apply them to and make them work for you in the ordinary course of doing your business. Right. So that's basically the difference. So that's number 2. So right people. Number 3 is execution. Execution is quite important. You may have the right leadership, the right people, but if you don't have the discipline of execution, then you get nothing. You don't produce anything. You don't add value to your knowledge. You don't get out anything as outcome or output. So execution is the 4th pillar of getting into profitability. The third pillar of getting to profitability. And the last one is the strategy. Now, the criticality of strategy is that when businesses face challenges, it helps you to know whether their strategy is the right strategy or not. Why? When people face crisis or businesses face crisis, you see them swinging from strategy to strategy to strategy to strategy to strategy. The fundamental pillar of their strategy continues to change. When you have the right business, the fundamental pillar of your strategy will not change, but the principles for driving them can change, because you are not going to leave that sector. So, for example, you are in banking. You are not going to jump out of banking and say, now I'm going to another thing. You know why you are in banking. So your business may be challenged. So you need to then, what are the things that I need to reintroduce to make my strategy work? And there are things that make strategy successful. One of them is market formation. Okay. Have you been able to create the right market for your business? So we talk in strategy about the blue ocean, the red ocean, and the likes. So if you cannot compete in the ocean that others have created, how do you then create that ocean that people have not thought about? Because sometimes it requires a lot of resources for an institution to fight the oldies sometimes. So if you don't have that resources, how do you create a new market? I mean, Amazon came here and changed everything. Amazon is not the producer of what it's selling.
Absolutely.
So that's another thing you will talk about as we go on. It's not the producer of the things he's selling, but they built a brand around what I call the buyer values that they've observed. What people want. What are the things driving people to buy? So they built a platform around what people are looking for. People want to, convenience rules the world. Everybody is looking for comfort and convenience in purchasing, in buying, in spending their money. The people work so hard to get money, so they don't want to work so hard to spend it.
Yeah.
So if you work so hard to get money, why have to go through a lot of effort to get it? You remember those days you want to buy yourself a suit. You have to go to one shop here, travel there, go round, or you travel abroad, or if you are buying in Nigeria, you go to different places to look for them. But now you sit in the comfort of your house, and on a platform, you choose your suit, you choose your shoe, and everything you want, and they get them delivered to you. That is what comfort is. People are looking for comfort and convenience in using the resources that they now have, so that time is becoming more and more valuable to people. So people people want to be able to make the best of their time, because that's where through time they make money. So they don't want to dissipate that time again in spending the money. So they look for so Amazon brought that platform where you could shop for millions and millions and millions of things right in front of you, and then you're done, and it's delivered to you, and you tick that box.
Wow, I mean, we are really in for a ride this afternoon. My producer, I think we should go on a short break right now. At least just allow people to take everything that's been said in, and then we'll come back for more. Let's have a short break, guys. We'll be back in a bit.
This feels like the final football match between two soccer warriors. Oh my God, can somebody please tell me what the African formation is? Oh, it's 4-4-2. Amazing. Cool stuff. That's just super amazing, isn't it? Africa Business Radio is doing 4-4-2 on the news with 40% Nigerian stories, 40% African stories, and 20% global stories. Now that's what I call a homegrown, heart-breaking goal! Go, 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 go! Yes. Go!
All right, so there's a lot of people might confuse cash flow and profit to mean the same thing, but then there are two different things. I mean, yesterday evening, I myself was confused about it when we were talking about it. It was like, no, you now explained it that, for example, during the lockdown and everything, it was important for a business to ensure that there was cash flow, even if they weren't making profits. So explain that. I don't want to explain in my own terms. I'd like you to explain it. So the next time I just want to ask is, cash flow or profits, which one is more significant for business sustainability?
Well, it depends on where you are looking at it from, honestly. Okay. You see, first we must know that both are crucial for businesses. Okay. We shouldn't it is when when you shift from one zone to another. There are two zones of life, two zones of leadership. So when you shift from the zone of comfort to the zone of crisis, then you make a choice between cash flow and profit. But when you are in the zone of comfort with your business, both are crucial. It's when there is a crisis that you then have to make a choice, because typically every business will have both. And secondly is that cash flow itself in the right pattern, because you have good cash flow and you have bad cash flow.
Okay.
So there are businesses that have cash flows and they still crash because the right mix of cash flow is not there. Even though money is flowing, but for example, I say bad cash flow, the cost of that cash flow.
Okay.
There is a cost if you have a highly expensive cash flowing through your... Why do we call it flow? Is the movement of cash. If you look at your balance sheet, they move from your investing activity, operational activity, and financing activity. So that's why it's called cash flow. So they move back and forth. And then as the cash flow is moving, if they move right, at the right cost, at the right velocity, they should produce profit. That is the way it should operate. Now, once the cash flow moves at an expensive cost, poor velocity, poor deployment of resources, it will lead to some negative things. Now, again, hold that as ceteris paribus under the right environment. So put that together, therefore, when you shift from the zone of comfort to the zone of crisis, then you have to say cash flow is more important. But if you are talking to a business person, particularly businesses that are operating in an environment where you are a public company, you have to declare profit for your shareholders, you have to do a lot of things to make sure that you meet the regulatory requirements, legal requirements, all kinds of requirements that you have to meet as a global business. You won't be really making a decision between the two, because both are crucial for your business and they are crucial for every business. But when you move from the zone of comfort to the zone of crisis, then you make a choice that at least let me have cash flow so that I can continue to run the business, and hopefully deploying other resources, you get profitable. Because if you don't make profit at the end of the day, even the cash flow will disappear at some point.
Well, I mean, that explains it a whole lot more. Now, also in ensuring profits, I think you talked about experience and how it should, how exposure should make the experience worth selling. At least it should be able to convert to value, right? So you can just have experience and you're just there sitting, right? But then with the exposure means that once exposure is there, or once person is exposed and has the experience, it means the person can, be valuable and become indispensable. And, so many things I was hearing from that is the person also being teachable, the person having a sense of leadership, being personal leadership, and it's something contagious that the people in the organization can have. Now, all of this leads to innovation. What role does innovation play now in driving profitability in business?
Well, innovation has become the word of the time, but it's not a new word. God, if you believe God created the world, let's take it from there. God is an innovator. I mean, for you to take, that's what I believe. For you to take, look at a blank situation, and it's like God picked up a plain sheet of paper and drew the world on it. So that's a great innovation. It's a great one. So similarly, innovation is very crucial, because if you have to be able to move from one stream of time to another, the world changes. We've been witnessing changes forever. And because times change, so if they change, therefore you have to do something to meet with the requirement of living in that time. Because the expectation, the objective, the desires of people are also changing. So if you are a business, and that is why there are some popular things that fly around the internet. Of course, we read them in business school, but of course they fly around the WhatsApp messages that you get on different platforms. Okay, so there was this picture of a guy that was sitting in an helicopter and taking area view of an area, taking an area view picture, and then somebody said that died some 10-15 years ago, because now that has been taken over. Before, you have to charter a chopper for so much, get the guy that will sit on it. Because of the danger, it charges you so much. Now you just deploy a drone of maybe £45, $45 drone, and it's gone. And it takes more pictures, a better view, coverage. Even the one you didn't send it covers so much. But this other guy will take one shot here, you say they go like this, and then the cost of being there, maybe they will crash. But now the drone and even if a drone crashes, there is no damage to life.
Always retrieved.
Exactly, you receive your content and get another one. So you don't make headline by that. You don't make newspaper headline. If you crash a chopper with somebody, you make headline.
Absolutely.
You become a bad, people will reference you. But when your drone crashes, you don't have a problem. You buy another one and you get your information. So you can see that people reference some companies now that they've been taken over by another. Example somebody mentioned was, you have camera. When they were talking about digital camera, some companies said it wasn't possible. They were not going to exploit. Today they are gone, and we see camera in phones and everything now. So these are the things that innovation brings on board. So what we then need to note is that innovation is quite critical to live in, because buyer values change. The people that buy things, their values always change. So now the way our children buy things is different from the way we buy things. And that's how it's going to continue. The way our parents bought things, their buyer values are different from ours. Now our buyer values are different from our children. So that's the way. So innovation is actually response to buyer values.
Okay.
That is my simple definition.
Okay. That's tweetable.
You need to continue to find yourself visualizing into the horizon of buyers. So
I want to ask something. Is it that the people buying would influence your strategy or your process of innovation, or sometimes you can actually innovate by anticipating what people want?
No. You see, I was talking to a gentleman who started a business, and I told him, I said to him, whatever is into the educational sector, and I said to him, whatever you are doing, ensure that take away the fact that you are the one building the technology. I told him, first, build into technology. 2, ensure whatever you are building, without the emotion of the entrepreneur that goes into whatever they are doing. Ask yourself, will you buy these things? If you can't answer that question genuinely, without having any feeling, then you are not producing for anybody, you are producing for yourself. And they're not going to be successful. So that's very important. So buyer values drives innovation. Nobody goes to produce. You need to listen to certain people. People like, people will tell you it's from conversation among friends, families. You go to clubs, you go to parties, you go to church, everywhere. You will hear conversation of what people wish happened.
Right.
What they wish was available.
And that's the importance of data. Oh man, I think this show should really be a 1-hour show because we just come to the end of it. I mean, guys, I'm sure you really learned a lot from Dr. Olusegun Akanji this afternoon. Right? Don't forget to connect with him on LinkedIn. That's Olusegun Akanji. That's Olusegun Akanji on LinkedIn, and then ask him a lot of questions, send him emails, send him so many things. The YouTube channel is going to be up in a bit. I'm sure once you connect with him on LinkedIn, he's going to talk about it on his LinkedIn page and get everybody into the page. These are the things that we need to have a whole lot of conversations on, and not just conversations, ensure that we start to act on it. The future of the Nigerian economy and the African economy lies, in the hands of we, the millennials, especially people who are 39 to 25 right now. Of course, the Gen Z, they're going to take it up, but then they need to see that some people ahead of them are examples enough to follow. So let us take these things. Let's be responsible for whatsoever is in our hands. I tell people that whatever your hands find to do it diligently. Of course, I'm referencing a book, but then do it diligently, because you never can tell who is saying it, you never can tell who would reference it later, and never can tell how that thing can transform the whole economy of a particular generation to come. All right, guys, don't forget to go on www.africabusinessradio to listen to the podcast version of this later this evening. And don't forget to go on getupinc.com to take the African Millennial Report survey. Mickey Jagger, thank you for being the best producer ever. All right, guys. Bye for now. We'll see you on Friday, and I have some very, very interesting also on Friday. Don't forget to tell everybody about the African Millennial Radio Show, and stay safe. Bye for now.